Hey everybody, this is a new setup. We have guns. Let's roll the intro.
Welcome back to the Couch Gambit podcast. Hi, it's Michael Riccobono, Richabono, Ricky Bobby, whatever you want. As you can see, it is a different setup. Is it for the long term? Well, we'll find out if we like it. To my left is Jacob Sizemore. Hi.
Hello.
Yeah,
I have
he's
gun.
the one who wanted to try out this new setup. Liam. Yeah. Also, he's been pointing his gun at me.
Save me. Save
and
me.
At his eyeball, at
Safety.
his penis. It's no. Hey, what's up, Mikey?
Hey, what's going on, Cameron? You
Yeah.
think we're gonna have an Alec Baldwin situation here?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
With me here?
That's what we're aiming for, you know.
Yeah.
We're very close.
But he has the biggest gun.
See, I
Yep.
can't help it.
And you have no gun.
And I have no gun.
Yeah.
It truly was an endowment. I don't know.
Look, I don't need one. I just convince people not to hurt me with my words, or I just threaten to sit on them.
I was gonna say, I remember you just stripping off your pants the last time some guy wanted to fight you.
He just
It worked.
He just flings his fat at them. Like,
Just fall backwards.
he just flocks them, or I don't know what the word I'm looking for is.
You're an idiot.
So the very beginning of this, we've already triggered everyone who hates guns, and we fat shamed Michael.
No, that's just.
Oh yeah,
That's a
please.
given.
Like, no one in the comment section try to white knight for me. Look. This is good shit right here, okay? It's the best shit, all right?
Dude, if we're ever in a cannibalistic situation where we all are stuck on an island and
I
we
can
need someone
feed
that's true.
people.
Michael can feed everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah. Wait.
It's got so dark so quickly. Okay, so we're talking about guns today. We're going to be talking about a few subjects like gun safety, the public response to guns, anyone who just generally has like bad feelings towards. So I genuinely do feel anyone who has a genuine fear of guns, which I understand people's genuine fear of guns, but if they do have a genuine fear, I think it comes from not understanding guns. Because at the same time, as much as I can understand that you don't like guns and that is an opinion, look, it's also an inanimate object. It's something that you can master. It's something that you can train with, get better at from a young age. It doesn't matter what age you're at. It doesn't matter if you're fearful of guns. I just encourage you, go to the freaking shooting range just once. Try it out. I had the most anti-gun person of all time, and she went to the shooting range one time and immediately was like, I kind of like guns. I'm like, yeah, because you tried it out once. You didn't just like immediately come to the conclusion like all guns are bad. Just try it once.
Look,
Guns are
let's
cool.
be real here.
Yeah.
When you hold a firearm, okay, look, I don't own one, but I have gone to the shooting range. Look, when you have one, you are holding the weight of God in your hands. You control life or death, and it is so magical. I need to buy a gun.
It's just like drugs. Just one time.
Yeah,
That's
just
all you
one
need.
time. Yeah.
That's all you need.
You'll
and
be
you're
hooked.
hooked, man.
You'll be hooked.
And
I'm just saying.
If you're not addicted to something,
No, seriously,
try
I mean,
guns.
like, because like I used to have one, but like after my first victim, I mean, I had to. Like,
Why?
I needed to hide it,
Dude,
so.
FBI flagging. Why? We haven't actually shot somebody.
we're
Michael's
gonna be
the Zodiac, but we
very
haven't actually shot
persuasive.
somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, of course, like guns. At the end of the day, they are inanimate objects, and it's going to ultimately be up to the person that's holding the gun to be responsible with the gun. Unlike me,
You're
before
telling
this
me.
podcast.
I'm incredibly
but-
unsafe right now.
but it's at the end of the day, it's not the gun that's doing anything. It's the person behind the gun. So ultimately, give it a shot. Go shooting and learn. Give it a shot. Give it a
That's
shot.
funny.
Go shooting one of these days and learn gun safety and just have one stored like somewhere to protect you and your family.
Yeah.
Out in the open, easily accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with it.
So we are all obviously pretty pro-gun. So why don't we just go around like introduce our guns, starting with the man who has two of them. He's ready to go.
Well, this here's Betty. as you can see, she's an assault rifle. That's what AR stands for. This baby
All right,
has
Joe
an
Biden.
ultra magazine capacity of 15 calibers and literally will blow the lungs right out of somebody's body. This is her cousin Gertrude right over here. What the fuck, on a Ruger? And yeah, little 9mm. She's my concealed carry, but please, you'd never know. I mean, for legal purposes, I'm fully licensed. All right.
Okay. So,
We're getting very close to admitting things.
oh my God.
The rest of my guns, unfortunately, were lost in a boating accident. You know, it happens.
Is that what took your dad's life?
Wow.
It's not even been that long.
Man.
Wow. So anyways, my gun is a Magnum 32 revolver from USA Charter Arms. It is not loaded at the moment because I've had quite a bit of trouble actually getting my hands on some 32 ammo. Ooh, that's going to be terrible
also because
right there.
we tied him down while we checked and cleared the weapon because he wouldn't stop pointing it at
Multiple
everybody.
times.
Listen,
Multiple times.
I
We're
don't
checking it
usually
every 5
point guns.
minutes.
I don't usually point guns at people. I'm just
the
trying
ones
to
who
be
deserve
goofy
it.
right now.
Good Lord. Of
And I checked the chamber multiple times, and still don't do what I do. But like,
We are not professionals, so
I don't condone
definitely
anything
don't do
that
what we
Sarah
do.
Jacob, introduce your gun.
So this is the Marlin lever action long rifle. Is a 22 caliber hunting rifle. By hunting, I mean it shoots squirrels, and that's pretty much all it can shoot. This is my grandpa's old gun. He gifted this to me. It used to have a scope. I broke it because I'm a terrible owner of a gun. But this is one of my favorite guns. Period, because it just holds a special place in my heart. This is the gun that my grandpa used to shoot turkeys for Thanksgiving. So he would literally go out and I know it's a 22, and it's a pretty low caliber gun compared to the rest of the caliber gun. Turn to Arnold Schwarzenegger for one single word. But he literally blew the head off of turkeys and for Thanksgiving. So that's what he used this gun for. So it's a turkey killer.
So what you're saying is that wouldn't even penetrate like the thick
It
layers
would
of fat.
probably either bounce off or get lodged in just the fat. It would never reach internal organs.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Well,
wow.
As for me, look, I don't need a firearm. Look, as I said, I just threaten to sit on people, or I just convince them not to hurt me, or my girl here will just use her rapier and defend me.
Hold on. You need to clarify that
know
last word. What'd you just say? Hold up. Rewind.
It's a rapier.
Oh my God.
Rapier.
You have got to clarify that
Holy
word.
here.
You have got to clarify that word,
man.
my guy.
Oh
Rapier.
man, this is.
It's a long, thin sword.
Oh man.
It has been 10 minutes of this podcast. We have gone through fat shaming, dead dad jokes, and almost rape jokes.
And Michael's about to leave the building.
It's true. Look, I have got about 10 minutes left. Okay,
Jeez.
so I gotta get it all out of my system before I go play D&D.
Goodness.
Also,
Okay.
it wasn't meant to be a rape joke. It's just rapier.
It sounded like it.
Rapier.
Okay.
Rapier.
All right. Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Would you prefer I say
Gosh.
sword?
Yeah,
Okay, she would use her sword to defend me.
that's better. That's so much better.
Yeah?
This could have all
Yeah.
been
I'm
avoided.
gonna have her rapier you.
Oh man.
I gotta go, man. I
Cancel.
gotta go. I gotta go.
Anyways,
So that's what the guns are for.
In case Michael's Pella wants to use her rapier.
so this episode is going off the rails, but overall, it's over gun ownership, gun safety, and just everything about guns in general. I'm not an expert on guns. I just like guns, so I'm gonna let them do most of the time.
But no, like most of the understanding that most gun owners will say is that you never point your gun at anyone, even if it's not loaded. So I am a little irresponsible. I do have the firing pin in my gun, so that is there. However, I'm never during this podcast going to point the gun at anyone in this podcast because it is,
Liam.
even though it's not loaded. Liam specifically.
Besides whoever is upstairs, but
Yes.
they don't matter.
And there is
Oh,
someone
actually.
upstairs.
Wait.
I just
I think
don't know what
that's
y'all are
actually aimed at
talking
my
about,
room.
right?
Oh, okay. Well, then we're good. Then
Michael-
let's wait till Cameron.
So you
want to
go play D&D?
That's gonna be a room.
Wait. Wait, what's funny is that my character in D&D actually uses firearms, and so if you shoot the gun, like,
Michael, did you fire the gun
Michael
in
did-
game? Nah, real life.
no,
I'm under fire.
I'm under fire.
Gonna get flashbacks back to Nam. But no, you never point the gun at anyone, even if it's not loaded. Any gun expert or really gun enthusiast in any way, shape, or form can tell you that. Even if you just got a gun, that should be your first thing. My grandma actually shot her first shot, even though my entire family is like humongous gun enthusiasts, gun experts. But my grandma's never fired a shot in her entire life. She fired a shot as of recent, and she was able to get the logistics of gun safety down pretty freaking quickly. Yep. It's not hard to understand gun safety. It's just very important that you trust this thing. It's like driving a car for the first time. You understand that you are driving a machine that could potentially kill someone if you do run into them. You have that power within the car. It's the same thing with the gun. In an expert's hands, it's incredibly safe. You'll never be in danger. But in someone's hands who doesn't know what they're doing and who doesn't know the etiquettes of gun safety, it's going to be dangerous.
I'm actually curious. Oh, you know what, Liam? I'll let you talk because I've been doing a lot of talking as of late.
Oh, no, general rule, like, never put your finger on the trigger unless you're ready to fire. If you're not ready to fire, keep your finger to the side of the trigger, and once you actually are intending on either killing something
Don't
or
shoot the
just shooting
audience.
a piece of paper, that's when you would switch over to the trigger and push it there. Otherwise, keep it off.
But so what I was going to pose a question before my departure. What is, when should a child learn gun safety?
Dude, I think early on.
I agree. I think the moment, I don't really have like a number in
2.5.
Look, because
Out of the womb.
Because like
Out of the womb.
No, because I mean, you teach a
it
child
in
like
your
basic
infant's
things,
hand.
like, hey, don't like put a fork in like the fucking outlet or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's just another thing to teach a child of like what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
So I think like as early as possible, a child should learn gun safety. Right?
You can very easily. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good.
Mean
But
to
like, because
interrupt
my
you.
big thing is, you know, when people are like, well, you know, I guess I'm okay with people owning firearms, but like, you just shouldn't leave them out. Put it in a gun safe or something, or have it hidden. Well, if a burglar just, you know, kicks, you know, the door down, right? I mean, come on. Do you really think you're gonna have the time to, you know, fucking get out of bed, run to your fucking closet, put in your fucking code, okay, and then get the gun, load the gun, all that shit? No, fuck that.
Yeah. No, I support.
That's stupid.
That stuff stays in your desk. But your kids, if you have kids, they should have a healthy respect of that gun, and that you never touch that gun if they're at a certain age. But I feel like 6, 7, 8, learning around that age, you should be able to teach your kid basic gun safety. Because I've seen parents who understand how to discipline their kids, understand how to raise their kids correctly. They take their kids out to the gun range and they let them fire the guns. And it's a little small caliber guns, like maybe like a small 22, maybe like a 22 pistol, but they understand the etiquettes of gun safety and they're unloading the guns by themselves. They're treating it with respect. And so, yeah, I think that you early on, 100%, teach your kids how to respect guns.
Well, yeah, for me, when I was like 7, my dad is a big gun fanatic. Now, I'm not nearly as much of a gun fanatic. I like them, but ask me questions on guns, I may not be able to answer them for you. But one of the things he did stress growing up, especially around the age of 8, is finger off the trigger and always point it to the ground. Like,
Yeah,
especially
or in
if
the
you're
air.
outside or in the air. Ground or in the air. Do not point it straight. Do not point it side to side. Ground or in the air. Keep it away from anyone in sight. And only fire when you're ready to shoot. Only have your finger on the trigger when you're ready to shoot.
I do want to throw in the caveat. So it's fine to point it in the air whenever you're out in the country. Whenever you're in the city, there are actually a surprising amount of people who die because people will fire off guns, especially during New Year's or 4th of July,
Yeah.
in the middle of fireworks, and the bullet will kill people. It
Yeah.
happens. It absolutely happens. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
But
There's stupid, like there are many instances of stupid young kids going and just taking their dad's gun and then just showing it to their friends, and then just something terrible happens. And it is part of the responsibility of owning a gun and understanding that kids are stupid. And
Absolutely.
stuff like this can 100% happen.
And this is why, I mean, you really should, whenever you're teaching your kids these things, you have to watch their demeanor and gauge their understanding of the...
Guns and Starbucks.
Of,
Very
Guns and-
fitting. Very fitting.
That's the name of this episode. Guns. I'm sorry.
You're suing us right now. This is like
Starbucks has reached, we have reached out because we have noticed that in your podcast there is a specific line that we are going to be suing you for all your work. You have no money? Well, we're going to be suing you anyway.
Jesus.
Oh my gosh.
Back when I was a kid, my dad and I would go out hunting, dove hunting, and he would shoot them with the shotgun, and then I'd finish them off with the BB gun. And I kind of formed the basis of my relationship with guns very early on. I was maybe 4 or 5 at that point. And I mean, there's a lot of lessons that come from that, but it kind of allowed me to naturally transition through it. I learned long guns first. Pistols are usually kind of the hardest to handle. And finally, it was a very natural, easy transition. Never had any issues of getting into the safe, or I knew where my dad kept his guns, especially the Ruger. He kept it in the nightstand right next to his bed. I knew where it was all the time, but because I had been raised to have a healthy respect for guns, I never went into it. There was no reason for me to ever feel the need to go in there, but I'm glad that it was there in case of a break-in.
Yeah, the first gun I fired was probably Dad took me to the firing range. He gave me Olga, a Barrett 50 cal. No, I'm joking.
Holy shit.
I was 3 years old. But no, are you still talking, or are you just gonna
Go ahead.
suck on that? Cool, sounds good. So one of the things, let's get into some people who are not for guns. Again, I understand the people who do not. Yeah, I understand if you don't like guns. I understand the reason why you don't like guns. But my problem is when you come out and try to take away other people's guns. We'll get into that in a second. But I do want to reach out to some people, some people that I'm close to, some people that I've talked to have been parts of organizations called Women Against Gun organizations.
Wow.
And though I do respect this person, I'm not going to name her on the podcast. I do not understand that specific argument because she's all for empowering women, all for making stronger women. And for me, I don't understand what makes a woman stronger than holding a freaking 12-gauge shotgun. Who is going to mess with her? I don't know what's more empowering.
Okay, in a straight up brawl fist fight, a guy is gonna defeat the woman 99 times out of 100 times.
99 times.
I mean, I was gonna say 99 times out of 99 times, but I mean, you could have a fat idiot like me go up against random chick who does fighting professionally or whatever. But whatever. But I mean, look, what the great equalizer is? A fucking gun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, it's obvious to me. I don't understand the mentality. Even being a pretty big guy, I don't feel comfortable going without a gun. I mean, it's just, I don't know why I would want to put myself at that kind of a risk. If I'm in need of a gun, it means that I'm not going to be able to handle the threat.
Well,
I mean, I'm not going to be able to face a guy with a knife. I mean, it doesn't matter the size of the person. I don't want to go up against that. I mean, the gun is for a situation where you can't handle yourself, or the risk is just too high. I mean,
It creates a polite society.
Even if you could properly handle yourself, do you really want to get into a big brawl? I mean, when most of the time you don't even have to fire the gun. Just showing the gun will be enough, 9 out of 10 times, to get someone to back off.
Yeah.
If you had a gun on you and you're ever approached by a live threat, there's a high likelihood you won't even have to fire the thing.
Mm-hmm.
There is a 0% chance that if I'm carrying a gun, I'm going to even engage in any sort of fight. I mean, I've been in that kind of situation before where you have somebody that's real aggressive, real confrontational, and you could have the option of jumping into it, but you think about the risk of, okay, what if the gun falls out, or what if they feel it and start going for the gun, or it just escalates. They feel the gun and then they pull out their own or something like that. And it turns from a fist fight into a life or death situation where you might have to shoot the person. I mean, if it gets to that point, you're going to have to.
Yeah.
And so that has completely altered it. It was the biggest difference, I think, kind of the moment where it clicked for me whenever I started carrying and I had that situation where it's first of all, the realization this guy has no idea what kind of what he's asking for right now. If he was going up against somebody else without the same kind of demeanor or disposition, this could end super badly for him. And so like, you know, it changes the way that you approach things in general. You became a much more peaceful person, I think, because you know now the risk of whoever you're confronting could have a gun and could be more unstable, and it's not worth it. And so what you were talking about, it creates a polite society.
Polite society.
100% it does.
That's why they used to call revolvers peacemakers.
Yeah,
because
that's true.
carry that around and like, I mean, even if you're a kid and you're an adult, like you don't want to get into that kind of altercation. Like again, it's the great equalizer. The gun, like it doesn't matter if you're skinny, scrawny, short,
Fat.
like you will fat or freaking Michael. You'll be able to equalize the situation because they're not going to mess with you because you know they can kill. You can kill them.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole concept of mutually assured destruction.
Well, guys.
Lord, you finished that fast.
Well, fuck yeah, I did. It was great. I've got a
No
second
wonder
one.
you're fat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, guys, I gotta go play D&D and shoot some people.
Yeah, a reminder, he's playing that upstairs, and look where my gun's pointed. For those listening on the podcast, it's up, and Michael's going to be upstairs.
Go ahead and put your finger on the trigger. Just
Yeah, just...
Well, I guess I can finally sleep forever.
This is Michael's last podcast.
Thank God. I fucking hate all of you.
No, we're just going to put in a timestamp at the very beginning of this video. If you want to skip to the good part, it'll be as soon as
Yep.
he walks out.
Awesome. You know what?
please
This
don't
will be
do
eye-opening.
that. Don't actually do
That would be
that.
so eye-opening. Oh my God.
We'll get the real metrics on this.
Dude, our viewership is going to skyrocket.
Oh my God.
You know, to get 2,000 views on a podcast,
Well,
like,
I mean,
wow.
Look, if it takes like me just no longer being on this podcast for it to be popular, you know.
No, what you need to do is you need to be at the very beginning and then just leave immediately. I think the fact that you're leaving is
Oh, that's what people
Yeah.
are really looking for.
just
You're
getting
right.
out.
That's a really
Yeah.
good point.
I'm gonna go play D&D now.
All right.
All right, now that the obese member is gone.
Damn.
Oh my gosh! Abs.
Okay.
I knocked
And-
my gun over.
Why was
Rule
the
number
one
2 of gun
person-
safety. No.
So the one person without a gun scared all the guys with actual guns.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
I'm playing D&D.
All right,
All right,
buddy.
see you later, man. So now that our viewership is going to be skyrocketing, let's talk about.
What the fuck?
Get out of here!
Yeah.
Go play D&D. Let's talk about every man's dream scenario of some guy breaking into your house and just look. I don't think anyone here wants to necessarily kill somebody, but here's the thing: if you break into someone's house, at that point, for me, you have forfeited your life because that means I don't know if you're coming in here to kill me. I don't know if you have kids. That guy definitely is forfeited your life because now you have someone else you definitely need to protect. So that person is just dead no matter what.
It's not so much about wanting to kill another person. It's more about just having that heroic moment.
Oh yeah, be the
Like-
hero, 100%.
Yeah, it's not so much that I really don't want to ever have to shoot someone, but if someone breaks in my house, I at least want to be like the cool like husband who's like, oh yeah, don't mess with my wife, all right? And hopefully the gun itself makes them leave, but if I have to shoot, I have to shoot. So you know.
All you have to do to immediately elite all fear in that guy is just follow that up with, and by the way, I'm vegan. That's all you have to do. You can have a bazooka and just follow it up with I'm vegan, and he's like, nah.
Hey, it would be pretty embarrassing for him to get shot by a vegan.
It
though,
would
so-
be, yes. To die by a vegan.
Death by vegan.
Death by vegan. I got killed. Who'd you get killed by? A plant? I got killed by a plant lover. No, I love the protection that the gun does give you. And again, like if for someone who does want to get married and have kids in the future, I want to be able to ensure that I can protect those kids 1,000%. And for me, if anyone does break into that house, that person has forfeited their life. They're a threat to the house. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what they're going to do. For me, your life is forfeit. I don't want to have to. I agree with Leo. I don't want to have to. I would rather not shoot somebody. I don't want to kill somebody. But at the same time, that my priority is somewhere else.
Yeah, well, and it is shocking going on Facebook or YouTube and seeing the comments on like house shootings and stuff like that, where people will phrase it as "I don't value my personal property over somebody's life," and it is mind blowing.
Yeah,
I just do not understand I mean, I understand what they're saying, but I can't imagine like genuinely being in that mindset. Like, obviously, the issue is, first of all, yours and your family life, your family's life, and then second, why shouldn't you be able to protect your property?
Yeah.
I mean,
My dad phrased it this way: is that he has to work and give up a part of his life to get everything that is in his household. So when you take that from him, you are taking away his life, and therefore, he has grounds to take yours.
100%.
I think that it even just goes into just the idea of you let people get away with this kind of stuff, and they're just going to keep doing it. I mean, first of all, the chances of the person actually being caught in any sort of timely manner to get your things back is pretty slim. I mean, it's going to be gone within the next 2-3 days for
100%.
sure. And the chance of the person actually being prosecuted to the fullest extent. I'm not saying vigilante justice is the answer. I'm saying that
I'm saying that's the answer.
I'm saying that as of right now, you can protect your life and your property, and you should. Allowing people to just run over you is not the answer to this sort of thing, and I think that putting life into these pretty little boxes of human life over property, they're breaking into your house.
Yeah.
What are we thinking about here?
They're committing the crimes. And it is a whole political gain, in my opinion, for politicians to use criminals as a way of sounding nicer than they are or sounding genuine and to get more votes. That's a whole freaking political thing. But again, like, it goes back to what we were talking about in another podcast. The punishment needs to fit the crime. And it's something that happened in England a while back, where there was a criminal who broke into this guy's house and he almost ended up drowning in this guy's pool. And so he sued that guy. The criminal sued that guy, which absolutely blows my mind that you were able to do that. And I'm happy that we do live in a state that does allow you to bear arms. It does allow you to defend yourself, defend your home, defend your kids. And it doesn't, and again, I feel like this should be a logical step for everybody, that if you're a criminal and you break into someone's house, then you definitely forfeit a certain amount of rights when you do that, because now you are infringing upon me. Again, your rights go up to the point where until they exceed mine, or until when you are causing physical harm. What is happening upstairs?
I was about to say, just start shooting.
I was about to say, it's definitely better than living in a state where you are legally obligated to try to run away.
What?
It's better than living in a state where you are legally obligated to run away, such as California.
To retreat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, oh my God. Okay, so this is going to get real controversial. Kyle Rittenhouse literally runs for blocks and blocks and blocks, getting chased by a mom, getting hit in the head with a skateboard after, literally running. He shot the one person who was coming after him and grabbed his gun, which was proven.
Yeah.
It's proven that he was grabbing his gun. And then runs to the nearest police barricade that he knew of, gets chased, assaulted multiple times, beaten in the head multiple times, and only shoots the people who were literally attacking him. And blunt force is a deadly weapon. There's no question about this. This has been ruled on as many times as you'd like to see it. Blunt force is absolutely a deadly weapon. So, I mean, people aren't even happy with duty to retreat. They literally want you to be completely helpless.
Yeah.
There's no other way to put it.
Well,
And even, I'm sorry.
the thing about that is, anyone that can honestly take a look at that footage and say that Kyle Rittenhouse was not justified in his actions is being Honestly, I'm just going to say they're being intentionally dense.
100%.
They're just being intentionally dense because if they agree, well, in their heads, if they agree with the fact that Kyle Rittenhouse was justified, it goes against their whole stance against guns, and it delegitimizes their arguments against guns. So they have to take that stand against him because, well, guns are bad and they should always be considered bad.
It politicizes guns to an unbelievable degree, and I don't think guns should ever be politicized. I think guns should be an understandable, like, again, we used to have the understanding, like, if you didn't like guns, you just didn't have guns. But if you had guns, you weren't looked like as this far-right individual who's just, like, gun-ho crazy and everything. Like, no, I like guns because I want to have the ability to protect myself. I like guns because I just like guns, and I'm a guy, and guns are cool.
There used to
But
be
there's
Democrats
no
in the
problem with that.
NRA. Like, it
Friggin',
wasn't a political
yeah.
issue. Everyone kind of had a mutual understanding that owning a gun was a right, and it was something that shouldn't be infringed upon.
It shouldn't be, no.
Yeah, but now you have, well, thankfully, the Supreme Court shot down the laws against special cause for gun permits. I mean, that one was, I remember whenever that one was overturned, the law was overturned in New York City and across the U.S. by that Supreme Court ruling, that Coke case.
Yeah.
And, no, it was huge. I mean, that was landmark.
I mean, thank God.
So the whole issue was that New York and other states were requiring you to show special cause in order to get a gun permit, like a license to carry. And
John.
self-defense wasn't one of the approved special causes.
It absolutely blows my mind. And it doesn't make any sense to me in America. Again, if you describe America, like, you have the freedom to pursue happiness, pursue all of this stuff, and again, the right to defend yourself, the right to pursue your happiness and everything like that. So, like, John, I seen this video. John Stossel tried to get a gun. I don't remember where it was. I think maybe it was
New York.
Yeah, I guess it was
New
New
York.
York. And it doesn't make any sense how you would need to have a probable cause to get a gun. Number one, none of your business at all.
Right.
Like, it's my business if I need to get a gun. For the first gun I ever bought was for my sister for self-defense, and it was just a Walther PPK, and it was like a little colored blue gun. She loves the crap out of that. It's awesome, but it's perfect for her. It's easy to shoot, but they're never during that process. Whereas there a whole qualification was like, why are you buying this gun? Like, why I'm buying. I'm buying this gun. Like, there doesn't need to be ever like, why are you buying this?
Right.
But again, I do think there's a complete misunderstanding for people who are in office making the decisions about guns. They don't even know anything about guns. You see so many people just saying complete nonsense stuff about how all of, like, representing how many bullets a gun can carry, or saying that an AR-15 is a 50 caliber gun. I've heard politicians say that an AR-15 is a 50 caliber gun, and it blows my freaking mind. It is, and these guys are making decisions about guns.
Yeah.
But again, it's not based on, like, the individual person. For them, it's a political subject, and that's why it's a danger that guns have been so politicized, because you can no longer see logic or freaking. Yeah.
No, I mean, it is stupid how easy it is to become informed on gun issues, and that the line between people who understand guns and who don't understand guns is literally right down the middle of the gun control debate. I mean, you could draw the line between the two sides. I mean, like you said, I've introduced people to gun ranges and things like that, and their perspective has completely shifted. It's like, this really is just it's a tool. There's nothing special about it. And then you you gain a respect for it by shooting it.
Well, I think it also puts into perspective that most people that own guns tend to be quite responsible with how they handle that weapon. So I think it's a combination of actually handling the weapon yourself, and then you see that people that own guns aren't these crazy fanatics that are just like slapping it around like that, like I just did, but like that are just slapping it around. Like most people that own guns, but most people that own guns, they are very strict with how you handle it. They are very knowledgeable on the weapon itself. And once you actually get to handle it and fire it, you realize that oh, it really is just me.
Yeah.
100%.
You are fully in control of that weapon. I mean, one of the things I enjoyed when I was carrying the Glock was just how easy it was to dismantle. I mean, I could just do it right there in front of them. It's like this is it. This is a whole thing. This is how it works. You know,
It makes you feel awesome.
100%. Trust me, it was kind of a like party trick, but
You can go to your first gun range and just walk out like, I am Rambo.
Yeah.
It's like, I can kill anything,
Yeah.
and I am awesome.
yeah. Well, and going through the process of Texas did away with the need for a license to carry. They still issue them. You get extra privileges. There's some places that you can carry with the license to carry that you can't without it. And then there's it's circumstantial. It's worth kind of reading into it if you're wanting to carry in Texas. But going through the process of obtaining it, the class that you're required to take, it's an 8-hour class. You can knock it out in a day, and it includes a range time. And you have to pass a competency shooting test, basically. They don't even require that in Colorado. They just require you to take the test, yeah. And then
Okay. And that's a blue state.
that's a very blue state, yeah.
That's okay. Heck yeah, Colorado.
Yeah,
Well, there
no,
are some
and-
huge red sections in Colorado. Like Colorado Springs
Yeah.
is actually pretty.
Very red.
Pretty
It's-
red.
It's awesome. But for all intents and purposes, Colorado is also a constitutional carry. In fact, they
Rock
had
on.
legalized open carry long before Texas had.
Lots of states have actually been doing that as of recent. I'm actually very happy about that.
Oh,
Even
yeah.
blue states.
Yeah, and I mean it's one of those things. It's kind of funny actually because I see people talking about how scary it is to see somebody walking around with a gun on their hip, and it's jarring. Don't get me wrong. It's like, oh my, yeah, like that really is a gun.
Yeah.
But first of all, I feel a little bit better because they're going to be the first target if anything happens.
It's not gonna be
second
me.
of all, yeah. Second of all, I mean, you can look somebody who's intending to commit a crime or go on a shooting or something like, or be irresponsible in general, isn't going to put the gun on their hip. That just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're not going to show the weapon. But honestly, I kind of agree. It makes me feel safer because either one, they'll be the first target, or two, if they're not the first target, they have a gun on them. So
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's just it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Like me, remember when we went down to the stockyards that last time? You just see a bunch of like cowboys like walking around with guns. Again, it's not that like, again, there's a thing in Texas, at least a culture in Texas about guns, that if you have never been to Texas, it's definitely going to be jarring going to the stockyards and seeing that many people walk around with guns. But at the same time, like, there's a humongous respect that many people have for, it should be fine, for guns that I feel like is missing in quite a few states. We're very patriotic about our guns in Texas. We're very respectful of our guns in Texas. And because of that, when I see a lot of people in Texas in the stockyards walk around with guns, it honestly makes me feel like kind of cool, excited. Like I'm around, like these are my people.
Yep.
Like it feels really, really inviting to see that many people with guns. But knowing that, like, it's not like, I don't think any of them, or I never get the feeling that there hasn't really been, as far as I know, shootouts of any kind, and I genuinely don't think anyone was like, you know what, I'm going to target the stockyards, because you'd be stupid to do.
Yeah.
You know, my favorite movies is Hell or High Water, and there's a movie scene. I'm so sorry if I interrupted you. Where it's about two robbers and two sheriffs chasing after them. There's a scene near the end where they have targeted a large bank in Texas, and they start to rob it. They run back out to the car, and they just get shot up immediately, like open fire, and not by the cops, by normal citizens with guns, because this is Texas, and you can hear in the background someone scream, "Welcome to Texas!" It is so awesome.
Yeah. Well, I was down in Austin this last weekend. That was the home of Cox Not Glocks, that whole movement down in UT Austin, and it was. It's funny, just the juxtaposition of it, but really the funny part was on the way to and from it. There's a Buc-ee's down in Temple, Texas, and I'm sitting there in it,
Based.
and I mean, just every once in a while, the thought crosses it, like what do you do in a situation, like what's your emergency plan, like whatever, and it's like, Buc-ee's would probably be the last place I'd ever target. I mean, it would be
Never.
You know, I mean, you're talking, and it's funny because like you're talking about the typical like places that would be targeted. You know, like a highly compact, highly populated public center with, you know, I mean, I'm just saying, but. That's literally the last place I would ever.
Never in Texas. Never.
No, not a chance.
Does Buc-ee's allow you to carry inside?
Oh yeah.
They do. Oh, I actually
yeah.
did not know that.
Yeah, Buc-ee's is great about that.
Oh, okay. Well,
another
base
reason
Buc-ee's,
to
bro.
love. Another reason to love Buc-ee's.
And I guarantee, even if they didn't, people would still be carrying in there. That is. Oh yeah. Same with movie theater. Like most movie theaters let you carry in Texas.
I
Really?
did not know that.
Oh
Actually.
yeah, Tinseltown and all that. I'm not gonna incriminate myself or anything just in case, but but yeah, I mean, as long as they don't have the 30-06, 30-7, or whatever they added now for the constitutional carry. I think it's the 30-8.
30-8, I think. I don't know. I don't know the other ones.
But it's got to be posted properly with the correct signage and lettering and background and all that kind of stuff. If you don't see it, then it's legal to carry in there. The most that they could do is trespass you if like a manager comes out and sees a gun and asks you to leave. You do have to leave at that point, but you can't be prosecuted for having a gun illegally on the premises. But in Colorado, at most movie theaters, because of the Aurora shooting during the Dark Knight Rises thing, the response to that was to ban guns in most theaters. Tinseltown doesn't, thankfully. And it's unbelievable how much you realize you are at risk whenever you're sitting there in a theater where all the light is coming from the front. So you can't see what's in front of you, but they can see you completely. There's nowhere to hide or anything like that. I mean, it's just like you really start to see how at risk you are in most of your day-to-day life.
And again, the illogical thing for me is like fearing someone else with a gun who is, generally speaking, trustworthy. So what I mean by that is like a lot of their excuses for not bringing guns out in public is, well, I don't want another gun loose out in public. Number one, what is that going to do? If I am bringing a gun onto a public, I'm not going to shoot up a school.
Right.
I'm not going to shoot up anything. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I have no desire to kill anyone ever, even in those tense situations. Like, I don't want to do that. I'm trustworthy with a gun. I know my gun safety. I'm going to be prepared. There's no threat for me.
Right.
And the other one is just like, I just don't like guns. For that, I understand. Avoid me at all costs if that is the case, because I probably don't want to talk to you either. But like, it's a lot of those fears seem very illogical for me. It's understandable because there can be emotional situations geared towards guns, especially with school shootings. I'm very sympathetic towards school shootings, and it's a very sensitive topic for lots of people. But I do think topics that are not talked about as much, and especially not in any mainstream media outlets, are situations where guns have saved people's lives. And I really just don't think that's brought up nearly at all, because tragedies are always just all over the place in news, and it's a very emotional topic, but never is it on situations where we're going to save people. And the news can't possibly cover every single one of those topics anyway, and the ones that do get buried underneath all this humongous tragedy. There's been situations where there's been a mom who... This is a boss mom moment. She heard, I guess she heard a noise or something. I don't quite remember the beginning of the police report, but the end of the police report has the mom going to the daughter's room, and he was either her ex-boyfriend or someone remember, and he was, let's say, defiling her. Let's say that.
Oh.
And it's not great. And she blew his head off with the shotgun. 100%. Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, I support the crap out of that. And it's the same thing with the dad in the barn who saw that there was a guy raping his daughter, and he beat him to death. It's the same situation for me. 1000%. And especially if it's on your property, and especially if it's one of your kids, no, you deserve to die.
Yeah, that's, man, the idea of people who aren't willing to go all the way for their kid just blows my mind. That one just, if I'm talking to somebody who says that they don't know that they could kill for their kid, we are not on the same wavelength. I do not understand you.
Without hesitation.
Yeah.
Without hesitation. I wouldn't even think about it honestly, I wouldn't even think about it if I were to be in that situation and someone was harming my wife or harming my kids. Without hesitation, it would be within a glance. I would blow that guy's brains out in a heartbeat.
Yeah. And that should be the response. I mean, there's no emotion about it. I mean, this is just I mean, this is a responsibility at this point. We're talking about your duty as a father or a brother or whatever. You know, I mean, I feel the same responsibility towards most people in my life that, you know, if I see them getting harmed, I'm not going to let that happen.
100%.
So I just don't get it. And you don't even have to go to self-defense to justify any of this. The whole basis of the Second Amendment was for a government that's gotten out of hand.
Yeah. 1,000%. And again, like, have you heard this stupid freaking argument? Like, it was talking about muskets.
Oh,
it was talking about muskets, man.
Cannons were banned. They literally weren't.
They were not.
We actually got a flag with one on it that says "Come and take it." In fact, that was owned by a bunch of citizens. I you know, it's just crazy, man. Okay.
What was that? What just happened?
So, do y'all remember when Joe Biden said that the guns that we have would be completely useless because the U.S. has nukes? Do y'all remember that?
I was so...
And then Ukraine.
What kind of
and
freaking...
Ukraine.
Yeah.
What kind of stupid... Was that a threat? It seemed like a threat. Like, what was that?
Easily.
What just happened?
And this is... I mean, you could walk this back to the most extreme... I mean, let's say the U.S. bans it. Well, now their thing is going to be, well, what are you going to use against the U.S. government? Your knives? What are you going to... Like, we have guns, bro. Yeah, no, that's why we're not letting you take anything else. Like,
exactly.
All you're going to do, you have nukes, yeah. But if we don't have guns, then all it's going to take is your guns.
100%.
So,
and you see the impracticality of us actually being invaded by a lot of countries because we do have guns.
100,
and because the citizens, like you see that happen in Ukraine and Russia. Lots of the Ukraine citizens were actually fighting back against the Russian people. And these are normal citizens. They're not soldiers. They're citizens fighting back. Like, again, if it's an armed society, impractical to invade at all. And the fact that you can say that we would... like, again, it blows my mind. If you don't like Donald Trump at all, fair, whatever. If you don't like Donald Trump, why? And you think that he's going to be making a government that is going to be something that is outlandish and crazy and insane and something that you want to defend against? Why would you not want one of these? Why would you not want one of these to defend yourself? Again. When it's the government, not him to hold it, but like those for yourself. When it's a government that you agree with, when you agree with, it's going to be a little harder for you to say like, oh, why would you ever need a gun to defend yourself? But when it's a government that genuinely is taking away what you want, when it's stomping over you, stomping over the little man, that's when you realize like, oh, maybe I do need the right. And again, the people who made this law were under a genuine regime that trampled over their rights, and that's why they made this law, because they knew if the citizens could defend themselves, then they pose a threat against the government. We outnumber the government 100%. Yep. So
I believe there was like a town where they tried to ban, or they tried to put in some restrictive gun law. I can't remember for the life of me what it was, but I know that a lot of the citizens ended up getting together. They went to the courthouse where the law was being passed, and they just carried their guns peacefully. They didn't fire anything. They simply said, we will not comply.
Yep.
Yeah. 100%.
I think, God, I want to say I remember that.
I don't know which city it was. If someone comes across this video in the comments section, they may say what it is, but I have it memorized, but I just don't know where.
We got our facts straight,
and
baby.
It was in the midst of I think the BLM riots, because it was one of the most peaceful gatherings of all time. I think there was one arrest made, and it wasn't even related to guns. It was, yeah. I remember exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, it's funny because that's always the case. Whenever you get a bunch of people who are armed together, it's always super peaceful.
Because why would you mess with them?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and nobody's coming with their guns holstered that intend to do harm on it. And
But again, those people would never have the intention to shoot anyone that was like, again, like it is what they meant to do is they meant to bring their guns out in public and show it's not the gun that's killing people. We would never do that.
Exactly.
And we're showing you that we have full control over this. And it's not a weapon that is just going to stand up and find someone and is like, let me kill you for I am gun. No, it's the person, my guy. So, apparently, if you do this, it helps the YouTube algorithm or whatever. So, check us out on YouTube. If you're not already listening to us on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and all the other ones that we're on, because apparently we're on a few more that I wasn't even aware of until yesterday. So, yippity yeehaw, do that. Make a comment. Look at our shorts. And we'll be releasing a new video coming soon about our 100 subscribers because we have humongous egos.
Dude, you nailed it.